My name is Luke. Welcome to this live class. This is an English class. If you're here, that means hopefully you're an English learner and you want to improve your English. That's what we're going to do in this lesson. We're going to be doing a couple things. We're going to talk a bit about polite English versus rude English, and we're going to do, as we usually do, a question and answer Q&A. So make sure you stick around. I would appreciate if you could hit the like button, subscribe, check out the full courses in the links in the description, and also give me 1 second. I have to do a couple things just to make sure we are indeed live, because you don't want to mess that up. That can't be messed up. Give me just a sec. All right. Yeah, we are. Hey, Naba is here. Hello, Naba. Welcome. And one thing I would request is that you guys work on your questions in advance so that you have them ready to go prior to live streams if you plan to join, so that you can work on them and make them really clear. I try to answer questions that are very clearly written and that are useful to the most possible people, and that I think is better for everybody. So really think about the questions that you want to ask, spend some time on them, and the more you think about them, the more you might think of other things that might be useful to add to the question. We had some really good ones last time, and I'd like to keep that energy going. Guys, if you do check out the link in the description, there is now a 30% discount on the full courses package. Not as big as it was before, but it's never going to be like that again, probably. So 30% current discount if you want to check out those courses. That should be the first link in the description. Might be the second one. You have to check. All right. Hello. Good morning. See, we have some viewers from Facebook. That's good news. I know you're not from Facebook. You don't work at Facebook, but I mean, you are watching on Facebook, and that's something. All right. I think I'm all set here. I think I just need to copy the link over for the WhatsApp group, and then we'll actually be ready to go. How about that? Okay. Cool. So, I know I don't usually do live classes at this time, but I like to try out different times. Usually I do live classes at, I think it's around between 12 and 2 p.m. here. So if you're in Asia, that's, I guess, between 12 and 3 a.m. Or if you're in Europe, it should be sometime in the evening. I would appreciate if you guys could generally let me know when is best for you to watch live streams, and then I can try to sort of fit it around my schedule and make sure that I'm there when most of you would like to watch. I would like to try to accommodate and fit into as many people's schedule as possible. Lolly Lolly is certainly here from France. Welcome, Lolly Lolly. Good to have you. Again, guys, if you haven't already, would deeply appreciate it if you could hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and check out those courses. We're going to wait for a few more people to come in. If I didn't answer your question last time, then just ask your question again, and hopefully I will get to it this time. It is 8:30 a.m. in Taiwan. Okay, so Taiwan and the United States have exactly a 12-hour difference because it is currently 8:30 p.m. here. I went to Taiwan once. Very cool experience. I really enjoyed it. 2:30 a.m. in France. Oh my God. Lolly Lolly's up late. Thanks for sticking around, Lolly Lolly. Very much appreciated. Kim is here. Hello, Kim. Hello. Yeah, I went to Taiwan in 2014, or maybe it was, 2014, and it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I actually made a whole video about it that I never published. I just edited it. I didn't finish editing it or something. I can't remember exactly what happened. I don't know. Anyway, I made a video and enjoyed my trip there. Did some mountain climbing. Listened to a lot of audiobooks, which is one of my favorite things to do. It was nice, but very, very hot. Extremely hot in Taiwan, especially in June. Ola from Timor. Hello. Missy, 3:30 in Saudi Arabia. Yikes, 3:30 in the morning. Yikes, yikes. Never missed out your video. Oh, well, thank you so much, Kim. Much appreciated. We really haven't got started yet. Thank you very much. I may do that. Hello, Carlos Claudio. Is that correct? Carlos Claudio. Welcome. Welcome, Carlos Claudio. Okay. Since we have a few more people now, let me just repeat myself one time, and then I think we can get into the main topic for today, and then we'll get into the questions. So, one more time, my name is Luke. I am an American English teacher. I have been teaching English for about 8 or 9 years. And in that time, I've come to realize that I really enjoy the process of helping people with their individual issues. That's one of the reasons why I started teaching courses, and one of the reasons why I started doing live streams, because it's a cool way, a more interactive way to deal with issues that you may be having, right? Now, I would appreciate, before we do today's class, if you could hit the like button and also subscribe if you want to see future videos. Also, if you are interested in learning more seriously, learning how to think in English, learning pronunciation, whatever it may be, a lot of different things, including grammar and idioms and phrases, then you can check out the courses in the links in the description, especially the first link. There's a discount on the full courses package. So check those out, and I think we can get started. Now, for your questions, what we'll do is, after we talk about the main topic, we'll get into those. Whether you're struggling with pronunciation or you're struggling with a method, how to do something, how to begin something, whatever it may be, a grammar question, a question about an idiom or a phrase, those are quite common, quite popular. Any sort of thing like that is okay. So I will look out for those once we cover today's topic. So let's get into that. Also, I think this is pretty cool. I tried to make it look today like there's a window open over there, and it's kind of sunset, and the sun is coming through the window. Actually, there's no window over there. That's just a light. Okay. So, for a number of different things, you may need to give someone feedback. That means someone has done something, they've completed something, and they've asked you to say, what do you think about it? Now, if you just say, I love it, it's great, that might make them feel good for a second, but what most people are really looking for is real feedback. That means, tell me something I can do to make it better. Now, one problem then is, if you want to tell them how to make whatever it is better, how do you do it without being rude, without being mean? We're going to talk about 3 ways to give feedback politely. Now, this is really, really important, because if you don't know how to give feedback politely, but you still want to help someone improve whatever it is they've done that they've asked for feedback about, you might hurt their feelings, and that's bad, right? Well, unless you don't care, you can say, I don't like it, this is terrible. Maybe you have that relationship. Some people have that relationship with friends where they can be very, very direct, and I guess that's okay if you want to. Some people just refuse to give any critical feedback of any kind, and they will just never say anything, and they'll say, I love it, it's great, no more. That's okay too. That's fine too, if that's you. But if you want to give feedback to someone to help them improve, I'm going to give you 3 useful phrases. And we're going to talk about how those phrases are used. Okay? But before we get into that, we have to talk about a method of feedback known as the sandwich. The sandwich method. Now, the sandwich method, I'm sure many of you know it, is the idea that you don't just say what you think someone should improve. First, you give praise. That's the bread on top. Then you give all the stuff that people eat the sandwich to get, which is the real point of the feedback. And then finally, you end with praise. Now, the simplest form of that would be, I really like, but, however, I think is really good. Something like that. So, really good, you can improve this, and then good, I like this. Now, it's good to be specific. What is good? What exactly can be improved? And then what exactly do you like about it? Maybe one is broad but specific, and the last thing is a small detail, very specific. Right? Whatever it is, there are so many different things. Maybe somebody has written something. Maybe it's a proposal, right? Maybe someone has made something, a dish, and you want to give feedback about the dish. So many different things. Now, I recommend that people practice writing, and that you get a writing partner, and you have a prompt or a task that you're both going to write about, right? So you want to work on your English writing. You both write about the task or the prompt, and then you exchange papers and check each other's writing. It's a great way to practice, having a writing buddy. So let's say that we're going to use the sandwich when we've received or we've done an assignment, a writing assignment with our writing buddy. We want to give feedback. We want to get feedback, okay? And first we're going to give some feedback. We've read their short composition, and it's time to give some feedback. Now, keep in mind, sandwich method. So we're going to say something positive, then we're going to say the thing that we really want to focus on, and then we're going to say another positive thing. At least we'll do that for the first one, okay? Maybe you could consider, and then some kind of ing verb. This is a really, really common one. Now, if we're talking about writing, we would start with something like this. I really like the way you use adjectives in your composition. Very creative use of adjectives, and it really creates an image in my mind, the description that you gave of whatever happened 2 weeks ago that you're writing about. Okay, and then say, but maybe you could consider giving a little bit more description of how you felt in the second paragraph. Maybe you're talking about the second paragraph, and you could maybe consider doing that. This is very gentle. It's not harsh, right? It's a very nice way to give the feedback. I think there's a thing in paragraph 2 that you could do better. And again, this is just one example, but the structure is maybe you could consider, and then an ing. That's the basic structure. Then if you wanted to, if we were making the sandwich here, you could say, but overall, excuse me, but overall, it's really good. I think that if you do another version, you could make it even more interesting. That's a pretty broad comment, but it's positive, and it's the other half, it's the other part of the sandwich, the bread underneath. Okay, so that's one. The second one that we can do is, I'm wondering why you. Now, this one is really interesting because it allows us to begin a conversation. I'm wondering why you then makes the other person say something back to you to explain it, right? For example, if we're staying on the composition one, we might say something like, I'm wondering why you decided to use the present tense when you're giving a story that happened 5 years ago. It's a little confusing that you use the present tense throughout. Now, this is after I maybe say the first part of my sandwich, okay? So when I actually want to give my feedback, I'm wondering why. Then the other person has to explain. Well, I was thinking if I do it in the present tense, it will feel more like an action story, or it will feel to the reader more like they're really there. Okay, and then maybe I say, okay, yes, but there are a couple places where you slipped and used the past tense. So that's a little confusing. Now we can actually talk about the feedback. So this is a way to not focus on, you idiot who did this thing that's weird that I don't like. It's more like, let's begin a conversation. Here's a thing that I noticed. Explain this point. I'm wondering why you decided to use only the present continuous tense and a few past tense verbs. A little strange. Okay, and then maybe you can say your praise comment. If you're using the sandwich method, I'm not saying you have to use the sandwich method. It is one very common way to give feedback. But if you have a good relationship with someone, you don't need to do it. Sometimes you can just say the feedback that you want to say, the constructive feedback, directly, like these first two expressions. So the first one is a way to mention something. The second one is a way to begin a conversation. And this third one is an interesting way to be a little more critical and explain yourself more. I'm not crazy about whatever it is because. Now, if you explain feedback, then people feel that you've carefully considered what you want to say, right? You're very careful and you've really thought about it. Even if you have critical feedback that is negative, people often feel good because they feel that you've really taken the time on it, that you've really worked on making sure that this feedback is actually useful rather than just making some random comment. So it could sound like this is a little too direct and it could sound rude, but I think if you really explain yourself, it's okay to use this one. So, for example, maybe it's a higher level point. I'm not crazy about the way that you've described the main character at the beginning of the story, because I feel that there are no motivations there for me to grab onto, right? Usually when you get to know a main character of a story that you're reading, you want to know something about your motivations. What are they doing and why are they doing it? A little bit. Maybe you've just described their appearance and I want to know why. Maybe you didn't tell me more about how they think and why they do what they do, right? So I'm not crazy about the way you did it. But if I just say I'm not crazy about the way that you describe the character, you can't really improve. So then I say because, and then I explain what that means exactly. And that could then begin a new conversation. Now, some would say that's a little bit rude, but I don't really think so. I think if you do it correctly and it's thoughtful feedback, people will appreciate you giving this feedback to them. Because again, you've explained it clearly. So maybe we can just review these three. Maybe you could consider, and then an ing. Maybe you could consider adding, maybe you could consider changing, maybe you could consider adjusting some ing verb to suggest an action. And you can change could with can. That is totally okay. I'm wondering why you did this, or I'm wondering why you didn't do this, why you did it, or why you didn't do it. And that is also a really useful way to give feedback, to give someone something that can begin a conversation. And then finally, we talked about this one. I'm not crazy about something because, and the because is really, really important because it shows thoughtfulness. So I hope that these three ways to give feedback are useful for you. I would encourage you to practice this at work, at school, in your daily life as often as you can. Ask for feedback and give feedback. And when you do, make sure it's useful. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. Also, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe and follow, and don't forget to check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. So hopefully that's useful. Sorry, I was coughing throughout. Finally catched one of your live classes. Yes, I'm not sure how to say your name. Is it Ilsa? Elsa? Ilsa? My throat's been a bit scratchy for the last week or so. Excuse me. I would like to ask, what does mean we out of and we run out of stock and we are out of stock? Okay, I'm a bit confused. That's a good one. That's a good one. Does anybody have any questions about the main topic? Okay. Okay, so let's talk about Missy's question here. Missy says, I would like to ask, what does we are out of and we run out of stock and we are out of stock? So let's say let's make it simple, okay? I get what you're saying, Missy, but let me just simplify it a little bit. We are out. We are running out. And then let's add stock at the end, okay? So we'll say we're out and we're running out. Okay. Now, of course, we are running out could have one simple meaning, which is not what you mean, which is we are running out. There's the door and we're going outside. We're running out. That's not what you're talking about. Also, we are out. We're out means maybe we're hanging out, we're having some drinks, we're doing things with friends. We're out with friends. Sorry, I didn't get your call. I was out with friends. Okay, again, not what you meant, Missy. What you mean is about quantity, the amounts of things that you have, right? Now, when would we use this? Well, we would use it in daily life if we have this thing that we need on a regular basis that is either gone or nearly gone. What could that be? Dish soap? Cat food? Anything like that. Sugar, eggs, stuff that you use to cook, cleaning products, shampoo, all that stuff, okay? And it's usually something that you consume. Now, we would use that for out and running out, but there's a slightly different meaning, out and running out. If we say we're out, that means it's totally gone. It's empty. We're out of shampoo. There is no more shampoo. It's gone. We're running out of shampoo, then is a little different because it means we're getting close to being out. So actually what you want to hear is we're running out of shampoo, let's go buy some more. We're running out of eggs, let's go get some later today. We are running out. We are running out. We're close, but it's not at the bottom. It's not at zero. We're out means gone, all gone, empty, no more shampoo. We need it desperately, right? Okay, so that's it. Now, can businesses use this if they say that they are out of something or they're running out of something? Yeah, in fact, they might use it, especially running out, when they want to sell something more quickly. We're running out, only 5 items left. That might make people click very quickly to buy the thing online, right? If they only have 5 left, I'm going to click very quickly to get the thing before it runs out completely, right? So that gives me a sense of urgency. It's running out. I'd better get this deal or buy this thing online, for example. We're out for a business may not be so common. Now, when it comes to a business that sells food products and drinks and things like that, then they'll just say we're out. They'll say something like, oh, unfortunately, we are out of, what would it be? Some dish. Oh, we're out of wild-caught mahi-mahi today. We're out of that. We're talking about food. We're talking about beverages, sauces, things like that in a restaurant. But when it's an object that can be on a shelf that's sold in a store or that you would get online, that's when you use stock. That's when stock comes in. We don't usually say we are out of stock, though. If it's a business that has an item, for example, a kind of shoe, right? Let's say it's a very popular shoe that comes out and everyone wants to buy it, and then they're gone. And so you go to the store, but you're a little late, and there's a sign there that says out of stock. They don't usually say we are out of stock. I mean, they could say it, but often it just says out of stock. That's the sign. That's the thing that you see. What does that mean? What is stock? Well, stock is having a reserve of something, having something stored and available to customers, usually for purchase. We have a stock of that, means we have those in reserve. They're kind of waiting there when we need them. So if we're out of stock, then it's not just out in the store that we don't have things. We don't have anything in our storeroom either. We're waiting to get more in stock, and then you can say in stock. We should have more in stock, quite sure. There should be more in stock then. So we don't use stock for personal situations like shampoo. There we would not use it. We use it only for the sort of business thing, online retail, physical stores, things like that. I hope that answers your question, Missy. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and check out the full courses in the links in the description. What does the word do mean? Sorry guys, I have a really bad cough right now. Hold on a second. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Scratchy throat. What does the word do mean? I'm kind of surprised that you would ask. It's a very basic verb. Well, it's an action, and it's used to connect to activities, and it's used to connect to say that the activities are happening, and they're happening usually caused by something or someone, usually someone. And it's when the activity itself doesn't explain itself as a verb. For example, running. If you say that you run or you are running, then you don't need any other verbs to explain it, right? But if it's an activity and it's, for example, a noun, then you would use do in front of that to say that that activity happened. So running can be considered as a noun, right? If you say it's a gerund, right? You would say, I like running. It's kind of using it as a noun. I do running. No, I don't do running. I am running, maybe, would be okay. But do would be in front of a basic noun, like do homework, and do some project, and do a live stream, and do all kinds of different things. Now, if there's another verb that explains the activity better, the noun thing better, if it's an activity or a regular noun, then no. So, for example, coffee can't really be considered an activity, so we might make coffee or have coffee, but not do coffee, right? The best way to do it is explore all of the different possible pairs with do, right? And pay attention to it because it's so common, and there are many different forms: do, done, doing. All of those different forms. There are many forms and there are many ways to use it. Such a big question, tough one to answer well on the spot. But I think if you just look it up in the dictionary, you'll find some really useful meanings of that one. Thank you. I will drink more. I have been drinking water all day. I still have this sort of scratchiness in my throat. It's quite frustrating. I've been reading some classical novels. But I have this little problem. I keep finding some words that I've never before. Any suggestion? Yeah. This is a good one. Ilsa says, I've been reading some classical novels, but I have this little problem. I keep finding some words that I've never seen before. any suggestion to expand my Old English vocabulary. So if you're dealing with Old English, then you should congratulate yourself that at least you feel comfortable with modern English. But I have some news that could either be good news or bad news. I don't know how you want to take it. No matter what level you get to, you will always find words that you don't know. I've been reading every day for 20 years, I read a lot. 30? I don't know. I read a lot. And I find words that I don't know all the time. I'm a native English speaker, and when I'm reading, I often come across words that I don't know. It happens a lot. There are hundreds of thousands of words in the English language. The average university graduate knows somewhere between 30 and 40,000 of those hundreds of thousands. So it's not a surprise, and it's easy to think, oh, every native English speaker knows every word. No, not even close. Now, it's true that many of the difficult words are very low frequency, right? The top 10,000 words that are high frequency, yes, everybody, most people know those. You probably know those, right? But then once you get into the outer territories, you explore that space and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And the bad or good news is that will never stop. You will never learn all the words. I haven't learned all the words. Nobody has ever learned all the words. It's never happened. So anyone who reads anything ever will always come across words they don't know. I don't know. So is that good news or bad news? You tell me. Now, once you've sort of got over that, then you have to ask yourself, okay, old books. I find old words in old books. What should I do? First, don't stress that you don't know the word. That's fine. It's normal to not know words, as I said. So what you should do is try to understand the word in context first. Step 1, can you get it from the context? Can you guess what it means or how it's used? Can you feel the meaning from the whole sentence? If you can, and you're pretty confident that you know what it means, then just continue reading. I'm pretty sure I know what they're saying there. I'm going to keep reading. I can guess what that means from the situation. I don't even need to look it up, because it might not be a great use of your time to look up that word in a dictionary and study it carefully. Because, why? It's an old word, as you said. It's low frequency. Now, if it's a high frequency modern word that you don't know, it's probably worth your time to seriously look it up and in an all-English dictionary, find the definition or definitions, the multiple definitions, look at the different forms, look at some example sentences with that word, and then try to make a few of your own sentences, especially for high frequency words. But if it's those old words and you know, I'm never going to use this, maybe quickly look it up in the dictionary and then move on. Because if you're always looking up words, it can be tiring and it might force you to give up reading. So I would not be the first person to tell you that you have to look up every word when you read a book. I would not tell you that. It really depends. Is that word going to be very useful? Do you need to know it? Is that an important word? Now, one way that I like to look up words, I rarely use a dictionary now. When I find a new word or I discover a new word, then I usually just ask Google. So I have my Google Home here, and then I'll ask a word. So let's see. Oh, okay, let's do this one. Hey Google, what does the word vociferous mean?
Vociferous is used as an adjective to mean, especially of a person or speech, vehement or clamorous, similarly to outspoken and vocal. Do you want to hear vociferous used in a sentence?
Yes.
Here's an example of vociferous being used in a sentence. He was a vociferous opponent of the takeover. Do you want to hear how vociferous is spelled?
Yes.
Vociferous is spelled V-O-C-I-F-E-R-O-U-S.
Thank you.
Glad you like it.
No, I wouldn't say I like it, but so that's kind of the method. And you can use I use an assistant because then I don't have to actually search. If I'm reading a book, then I can just continue talking and then go back to the book, and I don't have to stop and look at my computer. And it's actually a great way to do it. Now, if that doesn't work for you, if you like to actually look at it, then there are lots of great resources for you. I always recommend the freedictionary.com because it usually has tons of great examples. And I would recommend also maybe vocabulary.com. That one's quite good. And some of the other ones are okay too. Vocabulary.com, dictionary.com are all both great websites to use, and actually great apps to use as well, because they have a lot of example sentences. So I hope that helps, Ilse, if that's how you say your name correctly. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the courses, which are on sale in the links in the description. All right. Great question. Heba Heba says, I'm 16 years old and I'm still a student. I really want to improve my English. Any advice, please? It's such a broad question, Heba. I don't know how I can give a simple answer. I mean, when you say, it's like saying, tell me how to be a computer scientist, right? Well, if you're a computer scientist, it means you've spent a lot of time working on being good at that, right? So the big picture would be you have to find constant exposure to the language and practice, and always take the most difficult path that you can. Min suggests check out Luke's full courses in the links in the description, and I agree. I agree with Min on that point. That's a great point. That's why I make full courses. One of them, check out the one that's called Master Native English. That would be a good one to check out. It's almost 16 hours long, and it covers a lot of territory. It talks about grammar. It talks about how to use all the tenses. It talks about writing skill. It talks about some aspects of fluency. It's a very broad-ranging course. Definitely. Good point. Okay, Andre. Glad to hear it. All right. Have I missed any questions here? George, how can we ask properly about a breed of dogs? What are the most... Huh? George, are you joking with me? George or Jorge says, I don't understand this question. How can we ask properly about a breed of dogs? What are the most common conversations about shipping dogs through a priority parcel service? You saying that just now is the first time in my entire life that I've ever heard a mention of dogs being shipped with a priority parcel service. So I don't have any advice for you. That is a very strange point of conversation. I have nothing to say. And I don't know that many dog breeds either. But, geez, that might be the #1 weirdest comment that I've ever seen in a live stream. No offense. You might be joking. Jorge is a classic troll, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Have I missed any? Lolly still here? William says hello from Brazil. Great. Yeah, sure thing. Heba Heba. Cool name, by the way. Very cool name. All right. Lolly says, what's the difference between sarcastic and ironic? I think the meaning is close. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, Lolly Lolly is right that the meanings of sarcastic and ironic are close. But there are a couple of important differences. This is a topic which probably deserves its own video because it's really hard to explain to someone what sarcasm is, and it's really hard to explain to someone what irony is, right? Now, there are many great examples of irony. There's visual irony, there's situational irony. Something like visual irony would be maybe a man standing next to a post, right, smoking a cigarette, and then above his head there's a no smoking sign. That kind of maybe visual irony. There's an oppositeness to irony, right? There is two opposing things that make us realize in some way that these two very opposite things are it's unusual, and it makes us think about the situation a little bit more, right? Another visual one I think I've seen is a gym directly above an ice cream store, right? Because you would get the ice cream and then feel bad and go up to the gym. These two things are side by side, and it's kind of ironic that you would have them close together. Probably my favorite and simplest example of irony, it's just my favorite because it's simple, is I think it's a poem. It goes water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. Now, what does that mean? Well, there's a man stranded at sea on a little boat, right? Or maybe a little piece of an airplane because the airplane crashes in the middle of the ocean. And this man is dying from thirst, dehydration. And yet, he is surrounded by water. So the irony is, and I think this captures irony better than the visual examples that I mentioned. These are these two opposing things. This creates kind of an interesting realization that makes us consider the oddness of it and think more about it, right? The man is dying for a lack of the thing which is all around him. That is extremely ironic, right? The cause of his probable death is the thing which surrounds him. He needs to drink water. It's the only thing that he needs, and yet he can't because it's salt water. You can't drink salt water, right? So, very ironic. The irony of the situation. And if you read, for example, a lot of Shakespeare stories, there is a lot of irony in Shakespeare. And those are just a couple of simple examples to try to capture the general sense of what irony is. The common thing between irony and sarcasm is that there are these sort of opposing things, these opposite things. Oh, excuse me. But sarcasm is used usually for the sake of humor. And sarcasm is usually not some visual thing. Sarcasm is usually a remark or a comment on something to either say the exact opposite of what is meant, or to give an expression that leads people to believe one thing, perhaps for the sake of humor. And there are many characters in well-known TV shows that are very sarcastic. If you've ever seen the American TV show House, that character is very sarcastic. He'll say the opposite of what he means to be sarcastic. Sarcasm is the noun, sarcastic is the adjective. Sheldon on Big Bang Theory. Not a fan of the show, but Sheldon is... Wait, which one is sarcastic? Is he sarcastic or is he not sarcastic? I don't remember. I just remember there was one scene where he tried to be sarcastic or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, a good example of sarcasm would be something like this. Oh, great, great. So you can hear in my tone that I don't mean great. It's not great. It's maybe terrible. So you tell me that we have to leave tomorrow at 6 a.m. when I thought I was going to get to sleep in. And I say, oh, great, great. What I mean is that's terrible, but I don't want to be always so open and honest and direct. So what I say is, oh, great, great, or great, to kind of let you know without saying it directly. And it is really common among Americans and among people from the UK, that sort of opposite style. And it's not the kind of funny that makes people ha 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 laugh out loud. It's kind of dark and a little bit negative, right? Or if somebody tells you a horrible idea for a business they want to start, and you say, oh yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant idea. It's the dumbest thing you've ever heard, and you say that it's brilliant. It's like saying, you should know that I'm joking when I say brilliant. But if you're too dumb to notice that what I mean is actually not brilliant and genius, but actually that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, then you deserve to think that. It's kind of mean, right? And I don't know if sarcasm is good or not, but I'm extremely sarcastic. If you know me personally, I try not to be too much in my videos, but if you know me personally, you would know that I'm extremely sarcastic. Often in situations, it's my goal to never say anything directly. And one reason for that is I just think it's more fun to never say what I really mean, because then people have to think about that, and I think that's more interesting. That's just my personality. I don't know. So a lot of Americans are very sarcastic, including myself. And while there is a connection between sarcasm and irony, I would say that irony is much broader. It doesn't have to be used for humor. Sarcasm is more about that remark, that way of speaking, and that tone where we go, great. That's what we call a sarcastic tone. But we wouldn't so much say an ironic tone. That doesn't quite work. So that's the best I can do just off the top of my head about the difference between the two. Probably deserves a whole video, as I said, by itself, because it's quite complex. It's not that easy to explain and talk about. So hopefully that kind of answers your question, lolly lolly. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button, of course subscribe and follow, and check out the courses. Full courses in the links in the description. Okay. Good question, lolly lolly. It's a good question. I'm curious about the actual definition of the word sarcasm. Hey Google, what does sarcasm mean?
Sarcasm is used as a noun to mean the use of irony to mock or convey contempt, similarly to derision and mockery. Do you want to hear sarcasm used in a sentence?
No, thank you. So it's calling sarcasm a subcategory of irony, a type of irony, and that kind of makes sense to me, because irony is all about the opposing sides, the two sides that are put together side by side. And so it would make sense that sarcasm kind of fits underneath that umbrella. Hey Google, what is irony?
Irony has two different meanings. Starting with the most common one, irony can be used as a noun to mean the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite, typically for humorous or emphatic effect.
Sarcasm.
Is that the meaning you had in mind?
No.
Okay, finally, irony can be used as an adjective to mean ever like iron. Do you want to hear irony used in a sentence?
No. I'm not very satisfied with that definition. It's a little bit odd. It doesn't quite fit doesn't fit the broader picture, like situational irony, because it's often not used for humor. It's often not humorous at all. I mean, it could be. Sarcastic humor is ironic, but yeah, I don't know. Okay. I missed some questions here. Min says, several days ago I watched a cooking video. The men in the video who cooked rice said we should add more ice. I'm so confused. Why should we add ice to rice? Are you sure that they said that, Min? Because that doesn't, well, number one, that doesn't really make sense to me. Are you sure they didn't say rice? Add more rice. Add more rice. Because that would make sense. If you don't have enough rice, you would add more rice, right? Huh. That's a good question. I don't know. I would have to hear it to answer the question. I would need to actually hear it. If you want, you can send me the link and I can check it out. Yeah. He probably just said, maybe he said rice and pronounced it weird. More rice, more rice, more rice. Oh. Maybe I know. I know what happened. Listen to this. More rice. More rice. More rice. I get it. Okay. This is actually something worth talking about for sure. Min says, 2 comments. Hi, Luke. Several days ago, I watched a cooking video. The man in the video said we should add more ice. I'm so confused. Why should we add ice to rice? But then I realized he meant add more rice. He spoke so fast, so please help me see the difference with more rice and more ice. This is a fantastic question because it highlights something about the way that native English speakers speak. Now, if you listen carefully, most native English speakers will blend words together very often. And the way that they do that is to carry the voice through the word. Through the word. I did not stop my voice in those 3. Through the word. Notice that my voice is carrying, right? Through the word. Through the word. Through the word. So that's one way that we do it. If you actually stopped between each word, then it would sound like this. People would be talking like this, and it would be very strange, and people would sound like robots, and no one would want to listen to them for very long. Right? So the first thing to realize is, no, it is not about speed. It's easy to think, oh, native English speakers, they talk so fast. I don't understand them. Yeah, sometimes they do. But it's not about speed. And speed is not what makes you sound fluent. I know someone who's not a native English speaker, and I don't understand what she's talking about, and she speaks very fast. But the reason I don't understand is because she has a very strong accent. So I don't understand because of accent. But some people might say, oh, she's very fluent. She talks so fast. I don't care how fast she talks. Is it natural or not? So, what's going on here in this case? Well, one of the ways, in addition to just continuing the voice, that we blend words together is when you have the same sound at the end of a word and then the beginning of the next word is the same sound, right? So, for example, if I say move vanilla, okay. M-O-V-E, move, last sound is v. Doesn't matter what the letter is. Don't pay attention to the letter. What's the sound? That's the thing that matters. So, move, and vanilla. Actually, it would make more sense to say, I love vanilla. I love vanilla ice cream. Now, I'm not saying love vanilla. I'm saying love vanilla. So we definitely will smash together the V's sounds, even though E is the last letter of love, V is the last sound, the V sound, so that they share the V. That way I don't have to say it twice. Why would I want to say love vanilla, love vanilla? That's weird. It's very weird. So we don't want to do that. We want to share the V, love vanilla. And so notice that now it sounds smooth even if I speak slowly. You can speak slowly and sound very fluent if you master the ways that we blend words together. I really love vanilla ice cream. It's so delicious. I really love vanilla ice cream. It's so delicious. I really love vanilla ice cream. It's so delicious. So all I'm doing there is blending the words together so that it has that really natural sound, right? I really love vanilla ice cream. It's so delicious. That doesn't sound good. So here, the difficulty is that rice without the R is ice. And that could cause confusion. So you have to first know the difference if we were saying them sort of separately, and then know the context. So if we wanted to say them clearly separately, it would be like this. More rice. More rice. More rice. And if I were going to say ice, I would say more ice. More ice. More ice. Now notice, when I say the second one, there's a hard beginning to the I. I, more ice, more ice. All right, but that's when they're kept separate. Right? So that's pretty easy to tell the difference between them. But what about when we're doing this sort of thing where we blend words together? More ice, more rice, more ice, more rice. Now the difference is the emphasis that I place on it. If I say more ice, notice that I'm stressing the I sound. More ice, more ice, more ice. So I know that I mean the kind of ice that I would put in a drink. But if I say more rice, more rice, more rice, we need more rice. Now I'm emphasizing the R sound, and I'm putting the stress on the R. So I can hear it, even if I don't know the context. I can hear that it must be rice because they say, more rice, please, more rice, more rice. I know, I can hear that. But if they say more ice, more ice, more ice, okay, let's focus on the I. Now, maybe that's still too hard. I get it. Those are very, very similar. So then what you have to do is note the context. What's the situation? Are they saying more ice or are they saying more rice? Well, then you have to ask yourself, why would anyone add ice to rice? And so you get to eliminate it because it's ridiculous, right? You get to eliminate that because it doesn't make sense. Don't discount that. Using logic to figure out what something is, to figure out what is being said, that is part of your toolkit for learning and mastering words, right? Part of your toolkit is the ability to distinguish what is probably being said from what might be being said, right? Use your reason. Use every tool you have to figure it out. In this case, you could get it if you were listening carefully to the stress. What is being stressed? Is it the R or is it the I? And you could get it from paying attention to the situation. No one is going to add ice to rice. It's very silly. So I hope that answers your question. If you guys are interested in learning how to do this, in learning how to make sure that your sound flows like that, I have a whole course about this topic. And it is a 3-hour course, and it's got, I believe, over 10,000 students and a very high reviews. You can check that out in the links in the description. It is definitely, I think, worth it. If you are interested in doing this, you can get a very good feel for it in only 3 hours. So, again, thanks for the question, Min. Guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, and again, check out those full courses. They are, by the way, on sale. Thanks a lot. Okay. Thanks, Min. That's a really good question. I like it. Vissal says there's a phrase in Eminem's Not Afraid song, I'm manning up. I'm a hold my ground. Can you explain that phrase? Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. Sure, Vissel. I'll try to give examples. Sure thing, Min. Heba Heba, sir, could you give me some titles of books that you found interesting to read? Well, if you check back in the topics recently, I did a whole video about books I would recommend. Since I answered it so recently, Heba Heba, I would recommend you just check out the recent videos on the channel, and you'll see one topic recommending some books. I mean, there are so many, but it depends on your interests, and that video probably covers it better because I go into different interests and different skill levels. So you can check out the video. I think it's called Books for English Learners or Book Recommendations for English Learners, something like that. Beto says, when I try to speak English with a native speaker, I get very nervous. Well, I guess you have to do it more often then. If you do it more, it will be easy. Just got to do it a lot. Doing something the first time will make you nervous. Doing something that you don't do often is, of course, likely to make you nervous. I get nervous when I do things I don't do often. I do. For a long time recently, I've been nervous to drive my car. Just nervous driving. I'm starting to get better because I've been doing it a lot more. Now I feel a lot better. But because I didn't drive for about 10 years, when I started driving again, I felt really, really nervous. There is a phrase, Vissel says, there is a phrase in Eminem's Not Afraid song, I'm manning up, I'ma hold my ground. Can you explain the phrase? Vissel wants to know. I can actually not one phrase, it's two phrases, right? Man up and hold your ground. And maybe I'ma as well. If you ever see I'ma, it means I'm going to. Very casual, very informal. I wouldn't recommend using it, but that's what it means. Now, the interesting one, manning up. If you are afraid to do something, right? You feel nervous, you feel scared, or you are not living up to your responsibilities. You're supposed to be doing something, but you're not doing it. You owe money, or someone is counting on you, and you're not meeting that responsibility. So you're afraid, whatever it is, you're somehow lower. What might people say? They might say, be a man. Now, you can say that's a silly expression. What do you mean, be a man? Right? Well, traditionally, when a man is not supposed to be afraid. Girls can be afraid, but men can't be afraid. So guys will say, man up. Man up. It's sort of the idea of don't be afraid of this. Don't be nervous. Don't be a coward. Don't not do your responsibilities. If someone is counting on you, you'd better do it. Man up and do it. Right? Maybe you're something you're not looking forward to, a public speech. You have to talk in public. I really don't like talking in front of people, but I'm just going to man up and do it. Now, you might be wondering, can ladies use it? I've heard women use it. Yeah, man up and do it. I've heard that. But it's just a casual expression. It is used more by men, I guess, because of the stereotype that men should not be nervous or whatever. I don't know exactly where it comes from, but it is sort of in line with the traditional stereotype that no man should be afraid of stuff, right? So man up, a father might say to his son who's crying because he lost his soccer match. You lost. Man up, son. That sort of thing. So I'm manning up. It means I'm getting my courage. I'm gathering my courage. I'm going to do the thing that I want to do, even though I might feel afraid. The other one, hold my ground, I believe comes from the military, comes from war. So if you are a sort of a small army in a battle and you have taken over an area of land, we call that ground. In a battle, we often use ground. High ground, low ground. To take ground is to take territory or take an area. Now, you don't just run in there with your guns and kill a few people and then go away, right? Once you get there, you have to stay there, right? So that's a new problem that you have. Now you've made it to the top of the hill with five other soldiers. Now you have to stay here. You have to hold the hill. To hold the hill means you've captured it, and this is true for video games. It's true for war. You have it. You captured it. Now you hold it to not allow others to then capture it after you've taken it, now that you hold it. So to hold your ground comes from that. It's that idea, but then we apply it to all kinds of other situations. When someone is trying to influence you to do something that you don't want to do, instead of saying, okay, I guess I'll just give up and do what you want me to do, we say, no, this is my plan, I'm going to do it. To not give in, to not allow others to force you into doing something, to not allow, that doesn't mean don't listen to anybody, because maybe someone changes your mind and you listen to them and that makes a lot of sense and you agree. That's not what I mean. When you don't want to do something and you know what you're doing is right and another person is pushing you, trying to force you or manipulate you to do something that just doesn't feel like the right thing, that you feel is not right, and that you would not respect yourself if you just gave up, then you hold your ground. And they say, please. You say, no. Say, please, no, go away. Right? I'm holding my ground, to stand firm. It could be used in so many different ways. So, I hope that makes sense. Whistle, man up and hold my ground, as well as I'm a do that. I'm going to do that. Same thing. Good question. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button or thumbs up, subscribe, follow, and check out the full courses in the links in the description. Good one. I used to listen to a lot of Eminem back in the day. That's right, Heba Heba. I'ma means I'm going to. HJK6 says, could you explain the difference in pronunciation between crap and crab? So the difference is both have your mouth closed, right? But when you say the p with the b, then you just have your voice behind it. When you say the p sound without the voice, then it's like this. P, 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 p. Notice there's no voice. P, p, p. Crap. Even if I don't release it, crap, crap, crab, the voice is still there. The voice is continuing. Crab, 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 crab. So a good way to practice it would be to start with the b to release it like that. B, b, crab, crab, crap, crap. Notice there's no voice. Cut the voice off at the ah sound. Crap. Then do the same thing, but just don't release it at the end. Crab, 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 crap, crap, crap. Can you hear the difference? I'm not releasing it, but I'm still saying it. Crab, 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 crap. Can you hear the difference or not? It's very close, but they are different. All right, guys. I think we're going to call it a day for today. Thanks for all the great questions. If I didn't answer any of your questions, make sure you bring them next time. We're going to be doing, I think it's tomorrow. We're going to be watching a movie. A movie. At least this week sometime, we're going to be watching a movie. We did it last week. I'm planning to do one per week where we watch an old black and white movie or an old movie of some kind. Why black and white? Well, there's an issue with being able to show certain movies. I can show some movies and not other movies. And so in order to show some, we have to watch old ones. So get ready for that. Make sure you're subscribed so that you can see when we do that. Check out the last one. Again, thanks a lot for the great questions. I appreciate those. If you have other questions I didn't answer, you can leave them in the comments or save them, right? And we'll see if we can get to them next time. Don't forget, guys, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button, and don't forget to check out the courses. The courses are, by the way, on sale now, so the link in the description should have them. Thanks a lot. Have a great Monday evening or Tuesday morning, depending on where you are. Rest well, enjoy yourselves, and I will see you next time. See you guys. Bye-bye.